Hello everyone, thank you so much again for joining me on this channel. Today we'll be looking at the Agile project management technique. So we'll be looking at the overview of an Agile project management technique. So I will be providing you with an overview of Agile project management techniques today on this channel. In my previous video, I explained the waterfall project management techniques. I used two approaches to explain the waterfall project management techniques. I used the software development lifecycle. Also, I use the project management process group in order to explain waterfall project management in that video. So if you want to watch it, I put the link in the description so you can watch it. But today we are focusing only on the overview of Agile project management technique. So my name is Michael Alabi. I'm a project management professional. I'm a PMP. I'm a certified Scrum Master. Also, I'm a part-time professor at a college in Ontario where I teach project management to international students. Also, I had the privilege to develop Agile project management curriculum for a unit in a college. So I have signed on an understanding of project management and good experience in managing projects. So today we'll be looking at the Agile project management technique. I mean an overview of project management using the Agile approach. So let's dive into it without any further delay. So what is Agile project management methodology? Is an iterative approach to delivering a project which focuses on continuous releases with that incorporate customer feedback, the ability to adjust during each iteration, promote velocity and adaptability. This approach is different from the linear waterfall approach. It is referred to as adaptive-driven or a change-driven approach. So before I explain what is meant by adaptive approach or change approach, or what do I mean by incorporate customer feedback or continuous releases from the description, from the definition I just read. So I will quickly go into what do I know, or how do I simply define what is Agile. Aside the definition that I have shown you earlier, I just describe Agile in two ways. So Agile is all about a shift in your mindset and also for you to embrace another new way of working. So a shift in mindset and also embracing a new way of working. So this is the simple explanation I can give to Agile that I can give to Agile. So what do I mean by shift in your mindset? So for instance, let's say I have a project team, and this project team, they are used to the waterfall project approach. So this is what they have been using in order to deliver their project. You have to finish one aspect of the project, get an approval, complete the next phase, get approval until you finish the entire project or the closing. So they are used to that way of working. So I'm telling them, guys, let's start using, our team will now start using Agile approach. So for them to move from waterfall to the Agile there must be a change in mindset. So Agile is all about change of mindset from your previous way of working. So I'm not telling you, let's embrace a new way of working, which is the Agile way of working, more flexible way of working. So that is the simple definition, a shift in your mindset, and used for you to now do what? Embrace a new way of working. So see it from these two ways, see it from these two perspectives, shifting your mindset and also embrace a new way of working. So now I said the team to move from waterfall to the Agile and shift their mindset. So where do you want them to shift their mindset to? So what kind of mindset they now have to embrace? So in Agile, we have Agile is built on two things. In Agile, we have the Agile values, the 4 values of Agile. We can find this in the Agile manifestos. And also we have the 12 principles of Agile. So when I said, guys, let's change our mindset, let's move to the Agile way, embrace a new way of working, I'm telling them that, guys, move from the waterfall, embrace the new Agile mindset of having good understanding of the Agile values, and also get sound understanding of the 12 Agile principles. In some other video, I'll be explaining what do I mean by Agile values, and when I'll be talking about the Agile manifesto, and also I'll be trying to explain what do I mean by 12 Agile principles. So see it that way, that Agile is about shifting mindset, embrace a new way of working. And when you are shifting your mindset, you are trying to embrace the new methodology, the new way, the new mindset that we have in Agile. And for us to do that, you must understand the Agile values and the 12 principles of Agile. So that is the shift in their mindset that I'm talking about. So now, before I talk about the adaptive driven and change driven that we saw or that we read in the definition that I showed you earlier, let me also talk about the Agile umbrella. So in Agile, there's something we call Agile umbrella. So under this umbrella, we have different techniques. We have the lean manufacturing, we have the extreme programming, we have FDD, we have the crystal, we have the Kanban, also we have the Scrum framework and some other techniques. So out of these techniques, the most widely used one is the Scrum framework. And Scrum is mostly used in the IT or within the software developer circle. So, however, some non-IT projects or some non-IT team also they are trying to do, or they are trying to embrace the Agile mindset into their daily operation. I will not go deep into that right now. Maybe in some other time we'll be telling you how some other team, other organization are trying to accept, to embrace that Agile mindset, taking some aspect of Scrum into their daily operation, like they're taking the daily stand-up that we have in Agile. So I said in Agile is an umbrella, and we have different techniques under it. So the most commonly used is Scrum. So mostly we'll be focusing more on Scrum on this channel. We'll be looking at diverse areas of the Scrum. Also, so we look at the waterfall aspect of the project management. So I'll quickly say two things about Scrum. So Scrum is a kind of techniques or approach under Agile that allows us to adapt, collaborate, and also for us to work in a flexible way, and at the same time to incorporate the stakeholder into the entire project. So in Scrum, I will talk about the Scrum team. In Scrum, we have the team that we have in Scrum, we have the Scrum Master, we have the product owner, and also we have the developer. So the Scrum is like the project manager that ensures that the team are working based on the Scrum framework, while the product owner is the intermediary between the Scrum team and the stakeholders. Is the one talking to the stakeholder, gathering requirements from the stakeholder, where the developer are the people doing the work. They are not necessarily software developer, because it depends on the contents or the kind of project we are working on that will not determine whether we need a developer. So it's not about software, it's the developer in that context, is the people that will do the work. So we have this in Scrum. Also, we have certain ceremony in Scrum. In Scrum we have sprint. As part of the ceremony, you have sprint planning, you have sprint review, you have sprint retrospective, and we also have what is called daily stand-up. So for us to complete the project in Scrum, we have to follow this process, this ceremony. So what is sprint? Sprint is the duration that we have, that the Scrum team have to work in order to complete a part of the aspect of the project using user stories. So what do I mean by user story? In Scrum, let's say we have this project to develop a web application for a conference. So we know the title, we know the scope of the project. From the scope, we're able to divide this project into team, and from team we go to epic. From epic, we're able to go to these user stories. I will be explaining this in further video. So the team have now to work on user story at each of the sprint. How did they determine what type of user story they should finish at each sprint? That will be for another time. It is based on prioritization with agreement with the team and the squad and the product owner to know exactly what are the important aspects of the project that we can first completed. Let's say we are working on a project for a academic conference. We have many pages But instead of completing the entire project, we can focus on the about page where the attendee can read the entire information about the project. You can develop the registration portal. You can also develop where they will be able to submit their paper for review. So this can be completed earlier at some sprint, maybe the first sprint and second sprint. So how do you determine the number of sprints? The number of sprints will be determined by the completeness of our project. If you have 2 years, 4 years, 1 year project, so the completeness of the project will determine the number of the sprint that we have to have. So let me stop there. So now, for us to say Agile or Scrum is an adaptive-driven approach. Remember, in that ceremony, we have sprint review. So sprint review is the time that we have the Scrum team and the stakeholder, the owner, the project sponsor, or the end user of the project that we are trying to put together. So during the sprint, they expect them to produce something in form of a prototype, something that is working that we can show to the stakeholder. So when we show it to them during the sprint review, they will be able to give us a feedback. So when we are getting feedback from the stakeholder, that feedback, when we take that feedback into the rest of the project, that is what we call it adaptive driven. Because throughout the entire sprint or entire project, we involve the stakeholder all through the entire project. So now when we are adapting the feedback from the stakeholder into the project. That's why we call it adaptive driven. So why do we call it change driven? We call it change driven because in waterfall, it's so much difficult to go through change. But when we are going through change, we follow the change control board or the change control process. But in Agile, it's very flexible. Even at the middle of a sprint or at the middle of the project, we take change. So during that sprint review, when they are giving us feedback or they are telling us what they want us to add to the project, the stakeholders are telling us to make change. So we are taking change even at the middle of the project. At the same time, even at the middle of the sprint, we can take change. But the only thing is that once we start the sprint, we'll not be able to take that change to that sprint. But we can take the change into the rest of the project, into the next sprint. But before we take it to the next sprint, we also have to do some planning with the team and the product owner and some other things before we now fitting that new change into whether the next sprint or the coming sprint. So it allows us to take change even at the beginning of the project. That is the good thing about Scrum or about Agile approach. So they work based on user stories. So this is how we work in Agile. So I believe today I'll be able to impart you with an overview of what we call Agile from a Scrum perspective. So because this is just an overview, I'm unable to go into detail of talking about Scrum. Scrum is also a follow-me topic, very big topic. So thank you so much for following me all through the entire teaching today. So I believe that next time when I'll be talking about hybrid approach, you'll be able to understand why do we use hybrid approach and in what situation can we use hybrid approach. That will be my next video. I'll be looking forward for you to listen to this video. So thank you so much. Please kindly subscribe, love and comment. I would love to read from you. Thank you so much and God bless you.